Some live television moments are so horrifying they burn into your memory forever. In this video, we reveal 5 real on-air deaths that shocked the world in real time. Story 1. On October 12, 1960, an incident occurred in Tokyo that forever changed Japan's political history. Injiro Asanuma, the chairman of the Japan Socialist Party, was speaking to an audience of about 1,000 in the Hibiya Public Hall during a televised political debate. Asanuma had spent years navigating the complex structures of Japanese politics. Born in 1898 on Miyakojima Island, he grew up in difficult circumstances, losing both parents early. Despite these challenges, he excelled in school and studied at Waseda University, where he joined the leftist movement. His political views evolved over time, from supporting nationalist ideals during World War II to becoming a leading advocate for socialism in post-war Japan. Asanuma's stance often sparked controversy. He supported the People's Republic of China, criticized the United States, and opposed the Japan-US Security Treaty. During a 1959 visit to Beijing, he even called the U.S. the common enemy of China and Japan, a statement that drew both admiration and outrage. Despite criticism, his passionate speeches won him many supporters, especially among the working class. The debate in Hibiya Public Hall was meant to set the course for Japan's politics ahead of the lower house elections. The atmosphere was tense. Among the audience was 17-year-old Otoya Yamaguchi, a member of a right-wing nationalist group. Disguised in a school uniform, he carried a concealed short samurai sword, a wakizashi, under his clothing. As Asanuma spoke, Yamaguchi suddenly rushed the stage and stabbed him with the sword. The attack was precise, causing fatal internal injuries. Asanuma collapsed and was pronounced dead shortly after Japan was in shock. The attack was broadcast live by the public broadcaster NHK, reaching millions of viewers. Photographer Yasushi Nagao, who was covering the event, captured the moment Yamaguchi was subdued before his second attack. The shocking image earned Nagao the Pulitzer Prize and the World Press Photo of the Year award. Investigations uncovered a letter written by Yamaguchi, accusing Asanuma of betraying Japanese values and supporting foreign ideologies. The incident sparked nationwide unrest. Around 15,000 leftist protesters gathered outside Tokyo's police headquarters, demanding answers about inadequate security. Clashes with police resulted in numerous injuries. Politically, the assassination left the Socialist Party leaderless at a critical time. Under Asanuma's successor, Saburo Ida, the party lost influence and became internally divided. Yamaguchi, arrested immediately after the attack, showed no remorse. 3 weeks later, he committed suicide in a juvenile detention facility by hanging himself with knotted bedsheets. Before his death, he left a message in toothpaste expressing loyalty to traditional Japanese ideals and the emperor. His death made him a controversial cult figure and martyr in right-wing circles. Asanuma's assassination shook not only Japan but also the international community. It exposed deep divisions and political instability in Japan's post-war system. With Asanuma's death, the Socialist Party lost a charismatic leader who had inspired many with his conviction and vision. His violent end raised questions about security at political events and the dangers of extremist movements. Could better security measures have saved his life? How might Japan's politics have evolved under his continued leadership? These unanswered questions continue to remind us of the devastating consequences of hatred, extremism, and political division. Story 2. It was the evening of July 7, 2011, at the Texas Rangers ballpark in Arlington, Texas. The stadium was filled with enthusiastic fans eagerly awaiting the game between the Texas Rangers and the Oakland Athletics. Among them was Shannon Stone, a 39-year-old firefighter from Brownwood, Texas. He had brought his 6-year-old son, Cooper, for a special outing to create cherished memories together. Earlier that day, they had bought a new baseball glove, hoping to catch a ball during the game. Shannon was a devoted father who had worked as a firefighter for nearly 18 years. He was known for his kindness and commitment to his family. For Cooper, the game was especially meaningful because his favorite player, Rangers outfielder Josh Hamilton was on the field. In the second inning, Oakland's Connor Jackson hit a foul ball that rolled into left field. Josh Hamilton picked it up and looked for a fan to toss it to. Shannon, seated in the front row with Cooper, caught his eye. Hamilton threw the ball into the stands, and Shannon leaned over the railing to catch it, but in that moment, everything changed. He lost his balance and fell about 20 feet into a gap near the scoreboard area. The fall was sudden, and those around him were stunned. Cooper, still in his seat, witnessed it all. A nearby fan, Ronnie Hargis, tried to grab Shannon but couldn't reach him in time. The impact shocked the crowd. People rushed to help. Paramedics arrived quickly. Witnesses reported that Shannon was initially conscious. On the stretcher, he reportedly asked the paramedics to look after his son, wanting to ensure Cooper wasn't alone. They assured him his son was safe. Shannon was taken to John Peter Smith Hospital in Fort Worth, but suffered a cardiac arrest en route and was pronounced dead less than an hour later. The tragic news deeply affected fans, players, and staff. Josh Hamilton was visibly shaken, and the Rangers team publicly expressed their condolences. The ballpark lowered its flags to half-mast, and a moment of silence was held in Shannon's honor at the next game. Shannon's mother, Suzanne Stone, shared how excited Shannon and Cooper had been for the game. She recalled how Shannon had bought the glove for Cooper that day to make the experience even more special. With tears in her eyes, she described her son as loving and dedicated a best friend to her. His colleagues at the Brownwood Fire Department also mourned. Fire Chief Del Albright remembered Shannon's enthusiasm and good heart. Captain Robert Myers highlighted his love for his family and his years of service to others. The incident sparked discussions about safety measures in stadiums. Although the railing Shannon fell over met local regulations, this tragedy and similar incidents led to calls for stricter safety standards. The Texas Rangers and Major League Baseball announced they would review safety protocols to better protect fans in the future. Shannon's death was a painful loss, especially for his wife Jenny and young son Cooper. The community, as well as those in the stadium that day, was deeply affected. In Brownwood, he was remembered as a hero, a man who dedicated his life to serving others. This tragedy raises questions about whether the accident could have been prevented with higher railings or different seating arrangements. While these questions remain unanswered, Shannon's story reminds us of the importance of safety and cherishing every moment with our loved ones. If you don't like and subscribe, their stories might haunt you, and that's on you. Story 3. It was April 30th, 1998 in Los Angeles, California, when a heartbreaking and shocking event unfolded live on television. Daniel Victor Jones, a 40-year-old maintenance worker from Long Beach, drove his 1994 gray Toyota pickup onto a connector ramp between the Harbor I-110, I-10, and Century I-105 freeways. Jones, who was suffering from both HIV and cancer, was increasingly frustrated with the healthcare system, which he felt had failed him. His despair led to a tragic protest that captured the nation's attention. Daniel lived a quiet life in a small two-bedroom bungalow in Long Beach with his 7-year-old Labrador Whippet mix, Gladys. Neighbors described him as polite and friendly. But behind this facade, Daniel was struggling. After his HIV diagnosis, he was later diagnosed with cancer. He believed his health maintenance organization, HMO, was neglecting him, speaking to friends about delayed appointments and test results he perceived as intentional. Earlier that month, he discovered a swelling in his neck, the diagnosis: cancer. His deteriorating health and mounting frustration drove him to a desperate decision. That Thursday afternoon, Daniel drove onto the elevated freeway ramp and called 911. Armed with a shotgun, he began firing into the air and at passing vehicles. Over the phone, he expressed his anger at the healthcare system and the barriers he faced in accessing medical care. Police quickly cordoned off the freeway, while news helicopters broadcast the event live. Millions watched the events unfold in real time. At one point, Daniel exited his truck and unfurled a banner proclaiming that health organizations were profit-driven, accompanied by a call for freedom, safety, or sacrifice. He secured the banner in the wind before returning to his vehicle. Visibly agitated, he paced along the freeway, gesturing toward the camera, his despair unmistakable. Then he suddenly threw a Molotov cocktail into his truck, which burst into flames. Daniel, now on fire himself, ran across the freeway trying to extinguish the flames, rolling on the ground and removing burning clothing. He then walked to the edge of the freeway as if contemplating jumping, but returned to his vehicle. Moments later, he retrieved his shotgun and ended his life in front of live cameras. Tragically, his dog Gladys was trapped in the burning truck and did not survive. Police approached the truck cautiously, fearing possible explosives. Inside, they found remnants of Molotov cocktails, shotgun shells, and Gladys's remains. Daniel had also thrown items over the ramp's wall, including a videotape. The video was later viewed. In it, Daniel sat with Gladys, speaking about his struggle with illness and his feeling of being abandoned by the healthcare system. He explained his decision, his hopelessness, and said his goodbyes. The live broadcast sparked intense criticism. 7 television stations aired the event in real time, some even interrupting children's programming. Many viewers, including children, witnessed the tragic scene live. This led to debates about the ethical responsibility of news broadcasters. Some stations later issued public apologies and revised their policies to prevent similar incidents in the future. Daniel's story highlights the deep frustrations many feel with the healthcare system. His extreme actions were a final attempt to draw attention to its shortcomings. At the same time, the incident raises important questions about live reporting and its impact on viewers. Could better medical care have changed his fate? Did his protest lead to real changes in healthcare or media practices? His story remains a haunting reminder of silent struggles and the lasting consequences of acts of desperation. Story 4. It was the evening of March 16, 1984, at the Baton Rouge Metropolitan Airport in Louisiana. The terminal was filled with travelers unaware of the dramatic events about to unfold. Among them was Gary Poche, a father carrying an immense burden of grief and anger. Wearing a baseball cap and sunglasses, he stood by a row of payphones speaking with a friend. But Gary wasn't there to chat, was waiting for his son, 11-year-old Jody, and the man who had caused him unimaginable pain, Jeffrey Doucet. Jeffrey Doucet, a 25-year-old karate instructor, was seen as a mentor in Baton Rouge, but behind his trustworthy facade lay a dark past. In 1983, he met the cheerful 10-year-old Jody Plauché, who began attending his karate classes. At the time, Jody's parents, Gary and June, were separated. Doucet inserted himself into the family's life, befriending Jody and his older brother Mikey, joining family dinners, and gradually earning their trust. Over time, Doucet's behavior changed. He exploited his position to build a close bond with Jody under the guise of friendship and mentorship. But his actions crossed boundaries, eventually escalating into severe abuse. On February 19, 1984, Doucet went further. He told Jody's mother he was taking the boy on a short errand, but instead, he fled with him. The two traveled across the country, ending up in a motel in Anaheim, California. To avoid recognition, Doucet dyed Jody's hair black and passed him off as his son. During this time, Jody endured further abuse. Eventually, Doucet allowed Jody to make a collect call to his mother. Authorities traced the call and arrested Doucet shortly after. Jody was rescued and returned to Louisiana on March 1, 1984, physically unharmed but emotionally scarred. Gary, devastated by what had happened, was consumed by anger and helplessness. On March 16th, Doucet was brought back to Baton Rouge to face trial. The media covered his arrival, and Gary learned the exact schedule from a news station employee. With a concealed .38 caliber revolver in his boot, he waited in the terminal. As Doucet was escorted through the airport in handcuffs, Gary was still on the phone. He turned, drew his weapon, and fired a single shot, striking Doucet in the head. Doucet collapsed. Police immediately subdued Gary. During the arrest, an officer asked why he did it, and Gary calmly explained his actions. The shooting was captured live by cameras, shocking the nation. Doucet was rushed to the hospital but died the next day from his injuries. Gary was charged with second-degree murder but later accepted a plea deal, pleading no contest to manslaughter. Psychological evaluations confirmed he was in a state of extreme emotional distress at the time of the act. He received a 7-year suspended sentence, 5 years of probation, and 300 hours of community service, avoiding prison time. Public opinion was divided. Many sympathized with Gary, seeing him as a father acting out of love for his child. Others condemned his vigilantism. Jody struggled with mixed emotions despite the abuse. He had seen Doucet as a friend and mentor and didn't want his death. With his family's support, Jody worked through his trauma. He eventually forgave his father and focused on rebuilding his life. Later, he advocated for abuse survivors, raising awareness about the long-term effects of sexual violence. In 2019, he published his book, Why, Gary, Why?, sharing his story to inspire other survivors. Gary Poche spent the rest of his life in Baton Rouge. He died in 2014 at age 68, never expressing regret for his actions. But his son's story inspired many, becoming a symbol of resilience and healing.